Have you ever failed so many times that you started to believe success just was not meant for you? Maybe you launched a business and it collapsed. Maybe you tried again and failed again. If you are feeling like giving up right now, click that subscribe button immediately. Consider it your commitment to your future self, because the story I am about to tell you will change the way you look at failure forever. Imagine a man named James Miller. At 28 years old, he was the definition of a walking disaster. He was living in his childhood bedroom, sleeping under posters he put up in high school. His credit score did not exist. He was blacklisted by banks. His friends had stopped calling because, honestly, it was just too awkward to see him fail again. James did not just fail once. He failed 7 times. That is 7 consecutive business bankruptcies in just 6 years. From mobile phone accessories to online tutoring and even a clothing boutique, everything he touched turned to dust. He was the laughingstock of his town. At 28, he had to take a job as a waiter just to afford groceries, serving steak to the very people he dreamed of becoming. But here is the part that will shock you. Just 5 years after hitting rock bottom, this same man became the CEO of a company generating $10 million a year in revenue. Today, we are not just telling a rags-to-riches story. We are analyzing the exact mechanism and the secret mentorship that stopped him from failing an 8th time. It was not about talent or luck. It was about 3 brutal laws of success that most people are too afraid to follow. Stay with me until the very end, because once you understand these 3 laws, you will realize that your breakthrough is not as far away as you think. It is just one more attempt away. James started his journey at 22. He rejected his father's stable printing shop to build his own empire. In 2008, he opened a mobile accessory store. It seemed like a perfect bet, but James had no inventory strategy and no clue about margins. He lost $15,000 in just 8 months, but he did not stop to learn. At 23, he launched an online tutoring service. He spent a whole year building a complex platform. His total revenue after 12 months was only $280. That is not a business. That is a very expensive hobby. The pattern only got faster. A food delivery startup at 24, a clothing boutique at 25, event planning at 26. He was jumping from industry to industry, hoping to find a lucky market instead of building a real skill. It all crashed during his 6th attempt. He opened a digital marketing agency and went all in. He took out a massive loan, hired employees, and rented a fancy office. He was playing the role of a CEO while his bank account was bleeding dry. 6 months later, the clients walked away and the cash was gone. At 27 years old, James declared personal bankruptcy. Before we see how he climbed out of this hole, I have a challenge for you. If you have ever felt the sting of a failed project, hit that like button right now as a badge of honor. It shows you had the courage to try. Now, let us look at the rock bottom. James moved back into his childhood bedroom. His father barely spoke to him. To survive, he took a job as a waiter at a high-end steakhouse. Imagine the psychology of that. He was serving $100 steaks to successful business owners while he lived on tips. That restaurant is actually what saved him. A regular customer named Mr. Joe, a self-made millionaire, noticed James. He saw James listening to business conversations at the tables. One night, Joe asked him why an educated man was refilling water glasses. James confessed everything. 7 failures, bankruptcy, total humiliation. But Joe did not give him a pity speech. Instead, he told James that he had failed 11 times before his first success. Joe saw resilience where others saw failure. He invited James to his office with one condition. James had to stop doing things his way, because his way clearly did not work. The next morning at 6 a.m., Joe taught James the 3 laws that change everything. Law number 1. Study before you start. Joe forbade James from even picking a business name for 90 days. He had to spend 3 months becoming a scholar of his industry, talking to 50 potential customers, and learning every boring regulation. Law number 2, the 18-month commitment. Joe explained that success follows a predictable curve. Months 1 to 6 are for suffering. Months 7 to 12 are for struggling. You are not allowed to quit until you hit month 18. Law number 3, master one thing. Joe told him to stop being a generalist who is mediocre at everything. He had to pick one tiny slice of the market and be the best in the world at it. James chose LinkedIn lead generation for B2B tech companies. That was it. One service, one industry. If a restaurant or a fashion brand called him, he said no. This focus was terrifying because he was broke, but it allowed him to make a bold promise. He would get 20 qualified leads a month, or the client would not pay a dime. The first 6 months were a nightmare. He was making $500 a month, which was less than his waiter salary. His father told him to give up and get a real job. In month 7, he lost a client and almost spiraled. But he looked at the chart Joe gave him. Month 7 was the struggle phase. He was exactly where he was supposed to be. He was on schedule. Because he stayed focused, his results for his remaining clients became legendary. Referrals started pouring in. By month 13, the breakthrough hit. A tech firm signed a $3,000 monthly contract. By month 18, James was generating $28,000 in monthly revenue. 5 years later, that same business, Tech Lead Connect, hit $10 million in annual revenue. James went from a negative net worth to an empire with 60 employees. He proved that your previous failures are not proof that you cannot do it. They are just very expensive tuition. If you are in the suffering phase right now, do not stop digging. You might be just one more attempt away from everything. Share this video with one person who is about to give up. You might be the mentor they need today. The growth of Tech Lead Connect did not stop at $28,000. Because the foundation was finally solid, the house could finally hold some real weight. In year 2, James generated $400,000. By year 3, he hit $1.2 million. 5 years after that fateful meeting with Mr. Joe, the company reached $10 million in annual revenue with 60 employees across 3 cities. James Miller, the man who was once a blacklisted waiter living in his childhood bedroom, was now being featured in major business magazines. When James stands on stage at conferences today, he tells everyone the same thing. Failure is not a detour, it is the road. People think successful entrepreneurs are those who never fail, but the truth is, they are the ones who failed the most but refused to quit. James did not succeed on attempt number 8 because he was lucky. He succeeded because he stopped making the same mistake 7 times. He traded passion without preparation for a disciplined system. Let us summarize the 3 laws that saved his life. First, study before you start. Spend 90 days becoming a scholar of your market before you spend a single dollar on a logo. Second, commit to 18 months. Understand that months 1 to 6 are for suffering and months 7 to 12 are for struggling. If you quit at month 6 because you are broke, you are not failing. You are just quitting right on schedule. Third, master one thing. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Be extraordinary at one specific service for one specific industry. If you are watching this right now and you feel like a failure, I want you to look at your calendar. Are you in the suffering phase? If so, keep digging. Do not stop right before you hit gold. Hit that like button right now as a symbol of your commitment to stay in the game for the next 18 months. Consider it a contract with yourself. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below saying, I am on attempt number, and fill in your number. Whether it is your first try or your 11th, let this community know you are still fighting. We are all in this together. If this story gave you the courage to keep going, share it with one friend who is about to give up. You might be the Mr. Joe they need today. And finally, subscribe to this channel. Every week, We bring you the blueprints of people who turned their greatest crashes into massive empires. Remember, your previous failures are not proof that you cannot do it. They are just very expensive tuition. Your breakthrough is not as far away as you think. It is just one more disciplined attempt away. We will see you in the next deep dive.